the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live.
Hey, what's going on, TBV? It's your boy Mike, aka Gross1911, back here with another one. This is my new segment. It's called Mike's Check Hook. Shout out to all the fans that helped me come up with the name, and shout out to Ness for giving me this opportunity to do these interviews and bring it to you guys like this right here. And I just wanted to give a quick message to anybody out there going through something, depression or anything like that, or anything that you just think you can't get through it, or you got somebody in your ear telling you that you can't do something. You can do anything you want to do in this life. I'm a living proof of that, all right? I'm living proof. So without further ado, enjoy this episode of Mike's Check Hook and many more to come. Peace. Yo. Welcome to another episode of Mike's Check Hook. I got a very, very special guest joining me today. He's a radio personality for Sirius XM Fight Nation 93. Also, he has a analyst job on Dazn USA, or should I say Dazn or Dazn USA? It doesn't matter.
You can say Dazn because it's we're viewed in most of the regions of Dazn and other parts of the world. So you can just say Dazn.
Absolutely. He's a boxing analyst on Dazn. How's it going today, sir?
It's going good, man. Long day, but nevertheless, I'm finally getting home. Getting ready for this big fight week. We shoot a lot of stuff this week, so it's a busy week for me.
Absolutely, I know it is. Before we get into any boxing, man, I follow you on IG, and I see a lot of people doing this. What's the big deal of walking in New York when it's cold? Everybody says like you got to do it at least once, or you gotta feel like the environment. Like what's going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, New York is like a special place, man. Especially like in the winter, around the holidays and stuff like that. It's something that that everybody that at least comes to New York should experience. You got to take in that brisk cold air when you blow, smoke comes out, from how cold it is, and people walk down a couple of streets down the avenue, and just experience it at least once, especially if you ain't from New York.
Okay, I've been there one time, man, for the Charlo and Monroe press conference, and it was pretty cold then, so I can't imagine.
Yeah, it gets colder than that, man. That was light.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. I know you was there last week for the Wilder and Fury, right?
Indeed, yes.
How did you see that fight going, and were you impressed about the amount of people that were interested in it?
Yeah, I was actually, man. It's a good thing you brought that up, because I was going to mention that at the Staples Center, I think it might have been like, if I'm not mistaken, like 17,000 people, somewhere around there. So, for in the U.S., for that to be a crowd with Wilder, who I guess some people say is not as popular as he should be, though I think he's becoming that. And then you got Fury, who's not from this country. So for them to bring out, that many people and that many people talking about it, though I got to give a little credit to my dude, Radio Raheem, because, leading up to that fight, that little bit that obviously went viral, to this day bit, I think that kind of helped promote that fight slightly,
Bro, I had so many people hitting my inbox talking about, I didn't know Wilder was so this and that, and like outspoken.
Yeah. No, that was, what? That was a good thing though, because I feel like that needed to happen, because maybe a lot of folks didn't know how, how invested Deontay is, as far as like being pro-black and wants to be proactive in the community and it's for his people. So, that might have not been revealed had that video not went out. So, I think everything played out for a reason. It was all God's plan. But it also helped promote the fight. So I was impressed. I was impressed by the amount of people interested in that fight, for sure.
Before we get to the fight, what was your thoughts on the ring attire?
What do you mean ring attire? By who? By
Wilder
Wilder?
with the
Oh yeah,
crown
yeah,
and the
yeah.
whole
Well,
Hannibal gold mask.
well, honestly, what it made me think of, I don't know how old you are, so you might be a lot younger than me, but there was a show when I was a kid on Fox called Shaka Zulu, right? It was a show about an African king who was an amazing show. Even me being that young, I remember how great the show was and how powerful it was. So the first thing I thought about, being the age that I am, is Shaka Zulu. He was a king in Africa. So that's what I took from it. That's what I got from it. I don't even know if Deontay even knows who Shaka Zulu is, but he definitely had that energy that night.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how did you see a fight, and were you impressed by the fight?
I was impressed by the fight. I think I was impressed by Tyson Fury because I wasn't a big Tyson Fury fan. Leading up to that fight, to be honest with you, I would throw jabs on at him here and there because I was so unimpressed with the Klitschko fight, right? And to be honest, I hadn't even watched that entire fight, so I might have been prejudging him from the few rounds that I saw. But he made a fan out of me. He made a fan out of me that night because he was fighting the most furious puncher in the game, and he was in the pocket with him, rolling with punches, catching punches, taking risk in there. It wasn't a fight where he was clinching and just staying away, not trying to take risk. He took risk and he boxed well, so I was impressed by him. You know, I leading up to the fight, I knew that it was going to be tricky for Deontay because of Fury's length, obviously, his awkwardness, boxing ability. And Deontay has an awkward style where he has to land a big punch. You know, but he has his ways of doing it. But I thought that I honestly thought that he would get to land that big shot a little earlier than he did. But overall, I thought it was a great fight. Rematch is granted. Um, and I have to be honest. I thought that the count was good. Thought Jack Reese did a great job in that fight. Thought Fury, the way he got up, he earned the right to finish that fight because he wasn't hurt by the time he got up. And it was close, but I thought it was a good count. And uh, you know, I personally thought Fury won the fight. But if if there was a round that was close that I might have gave to Fury and a judge gave to Wilder, with the knockdowns, then it could have been a draw. So either way, I think the fans won.
Now, boxing is so subjective when it comes to scoring. Is there anything that we can implement or put in the game to like make it easier for judges? Like, is there like I don't know, a fucking punch machine or something like that we can use?
Well, first we need to start having and this is not to discriminate people of a certain age, but I think that judge just like so you notice how fighters before they fight, they do medicals, they do all type of tests, CAT scans, and I'm not even trying to be funny here. I think that the judges need to be also reevaluated every so often. Every 3 months or every 6 months. Let's go into let's get an eye test. Let's get a neurological test. Um, let's make sure that not only the fighters are in shape and ready to fight. Let's make sure the ref is in shape and sharp. Let's make sure the judges are sharp and in shape and mental shape to be able to judge a fight. And though I'm not crazy about open scoring, but it kind of puts it all out there.
Yeah, I'm a
Because when
big
you
fan
see
of
a
that.
round that's clear, it's clearly won by one fighter, and then those scores come in that round, and you see a judge, it's not that easy for him to give that guy that round out in the open. So I like the revealing of the decision at the end without anybody knowing, but I think that might be the only way to resolve these decisions that are controversial.
And another thing about open scoring, by the time you get to the final card, you may forget as a fan what necessarily went on in the third or fourth round if it wasn't a knockdown.
Indeed, absolutely. I mean, that's what a lot of casual fans have an issue with. They remember the knockdowns. They don't. They you know a lot of people don't even understand how fights are scored and how they are scored by rounds. So all fight fans should know that. True hardcore fans, but a lot of casual fans they don't know. They just look at a fight. They watch a fight and they try to see the big picture at the end. And we all know us fight people in the game that it's just not the way you score fights.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now Wilder came in at 214 for Ortiz, and he came in at 212 for Fury, and he said he even got down to like 209 on the day of the fight. Do you think that's a big deal, or is it just the makeup of his genetics and his body?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know how the F he makes 109 because I'm 150. I'm 209 because I'm 215 and I'm only like 5'11. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know how the hell he weighs that, but I think genetically it's just how he is. He's a slim guy. You know what I mean? He's a slim guy, and it's probably hard for him to gain weight.
There was news that came out today that he said he wants to get up to 245 for the rematch. Is that a good idea, seeing as you never weighed 245 in any of your competitions?
No, I don't think that's a good idea at all. I think that um, putting that much weight on, and never being that weight, there's just too much unknown there. You know, even if you slowly put on the weight and you have a training camp, it's just different being in that ring for 12 rounds and you don't know how that's going to affect you. So I would, if he wanted to gain weight and put a little more muscle on, I would, in my opinion, I think he needs to do it gradually. Maybe gain 7-8 pounds for one fight. Maybe do it gradually. But 10 pounds heavier than what he was, I think it's doable. But to go to 245, I think might be excessive.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about this fight, and rightfully so, and people are clamoring for the rematch. But there are still a segment of people that wants to see Wilder and AJ next. Is AJ still in the driver's seat when it comes to the heavyweight division, or does Wilder and Fury have the spotlight, seeing as they might do a rematch?
I mean, that's a good question. It's a tough question. I mean, it could be the case, and it could very well be the case that Wilder and Fury kind of popping right now. But I think the fact that there was no winner, no convincing winner officially. I think Joshua might have a little leverage there. He's still unbeaten. Never had a draw. He hasn't lost his titles. He won by knockout. Against a skilled Povetkin. I think that win kind of people undermine it a little. Like Povetkin is a gold medalist. You know what I mean? A skilled, decorated amateur, skilled boxer who only had one loss. So the fact that AJ had a game plan that he was sticking his jab in Povetkin's stomach all night until he set him up for that right hand. I don't think that should be overlooked. I think he impressed me that night, and I was there live in London. So, oh man, that's a tough question. Like right now in America, obviously Joshua and Wilder and Fury, they got some steam going right now. So, especially with all the stuff going viral, the memes to this day, to this day.
Speaking of all the things that are going on, what do you make of this Wilder kind of like media tour? We had a conference call last week. He's on Joe Rogan today. Last week he was all on Fox Sports. He was on Undisputed. He was on the show with Marcellus Wiley and I forget the guy's name, but yeah, he was everywhere. He was on podcasts and everything. What do you make of the media tour that's going on right now?
I love it, and I've been asking for things like that to happen for a year already. You know what I mean? A year ago, I said that Wilder needs to be on all of this, as many shows as possible. He needs to be on a late night show with Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and whoever. I know he doesn't have a promoter, so to speak, but I didn't think he had a great I guess maybe he just didn't have a right publicist, somebody that was really putting energy into really getting his name out there. But I think that should have been done. So whoever's doing it now, they're doing an excellent job because the heavyweight champion of the world needs to be known by everybody in this country. So better late than never.
One more question about the heavyweight division. We have Dillian White and Derek Chisora at the end of the month. Will you guys be going over to like do some work on that fight, or will you guys
No,
not?
man, we get a break for the holidays, man.
Okay,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying? Like
okay.
we've been traveling a lot since September. We got a big fight week. We shooting 5 days this week. We broadcasting live from the arrivals, from the media workouts, from the presser, from the weigh-in, and on fight night. So we're working 5 heavy days, and we're shooting our first ever weekly in studio show tomorrow. It
Oh, it's
drops.
coming. It's
It's gonna
coming.
drop. It's dropping Wednesday. So
Oh
the first
shit.
episode comes out Wednesday with a special guest. I'll let you guys watch the show this Wednesday. Can't give you time, but it'll be on the platform. Akin Barak, the Sweet Scientist, on Dazn officially. So we got a heavy week, man, and we got a big year in 2019. So Dazn is letting us spend some time with the fam for Christmas. So we won't be going to that White Tesoro fight.
Now,
At
now,
least as of now. I don't know if that will change.
yeah. Now there is one critique of the zone that a lot of our callers and even our panelists are like that they could do like a better job. Like
In
when
what?
they have like
In terms of what?
when they have like off fights that are like fights that like you guys are not like covering like live,
Right.
and they have like their own commentary team. Now
Right.
Showtime and HBO in the past have like did on site commentary. Is that something that you guys will like look into? And I had a suggestion that why not let Akim Rock do it? You know what I'm saying? It'd be a nice little
Right.
twist up, nice little flavor added to the on site
Right.
commentary.
To the broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've talked about that, in meetings and stuff like that. Like, there might be some audibles like that down the line. For certain fights. So you're saying pretty much some of the fans don't like the foreign commentary
I mean,
from
it
the people
just
that call in the fan. It's just
America's
different from
being Americans. We want to hear somebody that sound like us. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to really,
right. Yeah, yeah.
even
No,
though
I
like
got you.
I'm a fan of Adam Smith and Carl Froch and even Polly when Polly goes over there and like does his thing. But some of the
Yeah, I
of his
mean,
commentary is kind of hard
yeah,
to like listen to.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, like, the Zone is a big company, but I mean, adding all of the fights in America and all of the fights in the UK, and then also now with the Golden Boy deal, it's gonna be a lot of boxing, man. So it's just too much for a network to send guys out for that many fights. For one, guys, people have families and things to do. Others, a lot of the guys on the broadcast have other jobs, other obligations. So it's tough. When you sign a contract for a certain amount of days, you can't just add days to these to the on-camera talent. So it's tough. And then they have, people to do it overseas. So it's just not feasible to have guys away from home that often, especially when they have broadcasting teams out there.
I totally understand that. Now, let's before we get onto the Canelo week, let's get onto like some. To me, I think it's sad news. You know what I'm saying? It really didn't hit me until Saturday night, until their broadcast was kind of like over with. HBO is done in boxing, and they had like a epilogue at the end that was just I was like, fuck, you know.
Yeah, emotion. Yeah, I was a little upset with myself that I actually didn't record it. I was at the Lomachenko fight, and
I
I
send you a link.
usually, I usually record the all of the fights, and I kind of wanted to watch that last broadcast, and it kind of went under the radar, man, because of the Loma fight, and I guess I don't know, maybe there wasn't a huge name on the card. I mean, it
Yeah,
kind of went under the radar.
I got one question before we get to the broadcast and the whole HBO. Steve Kim tweeted out some, in my opinion, something that was very uncalled for and like just I don't know what the hell he was
What did he
thinking.
say?
He was just like the StubHub Center is not it's empty. You know what I'm saying? If you throw a grenade in one section, then it can blow up and it don't hurt nobody. That was cool, but it was like this shows how much interest there really
That
is.
was that was corny.
I mean, that was corny, but it was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But this right,
yeah.
what I'm finna
It
say
was
now
authentic.
really stuck out and really kind of got in my head. He was like, this shows how much interest there really is in women's boxing in America. I was just like, man,
Yeah,
come on, bro.
I mean, look, I mean, you ever see that dude walk around? You ever
Never
see the
met him,
way he
never seen him in my
dresses?
life.
You know, it's just some people just don't get it. You know, they just don't know what to say. Maybe he wanted to make headlines. He wants you to be talking about it. You know, so he's reaching, trying to say something disrespecting Clarissa Shields and the women that put all the work in. You know, work that he could never in his life put in. You know, the rounds, the miles, and all. Not only Clarissa, a lot of women out there that are fighting. I mean, like working just as hard as men and putting that work in. So to undermine them and disrespect them in that way, it's just unclassy and uh, nothing cool, nothing sexy about that. It was pretty corny and lame.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now let's get past that cornball and to HBO final broadcast. Like, did you by chance see the epilogue by now?
No, I haven't.
Damn it. Damn it.
Yeah.
Well, they just showed all the fights and everything that went on, and Max Kellerman and
I mean, I watched a link of Roy, you know, Jim and kind of Max just saying their farewells.
yeah,
You know, I saw Roy choke up. Obviously, you know, Jim, he always, you know, he doesn't always choke up, but he's choked up before in the air. I thought he actually held it together pretty.
hey, what's going on, Boxing World? It's your boy Mike here from the Boxing Voice. Just want to put the word out. If you travel over to theboxingvoice.com and check out our affiliate sponsors, you can click on the Showtime link. It is giving out a 7-day free trial. Or you can go to Amazon and you just do like your regular shopping, but you just use our link and they will give us a little kickback. Also, we have Audible, Own It, Fast Break Bail Bonds, El Camino Electrical Services, which is like a charger port for your car. And we have the History Channel, stream now, Women of History. If you want to check that out, just go over to our page. Also, we have one of my personal favorites, Blue Apron. It is a delivery service like the grocery store, but you don't have to go to the grocery store. They have fresh ingredients. They have good ingredients. They have great food and simple recipes. So if you want to check it out, go over to our page and you want some good eating, please go over and check out Blue Apron. They do a terrific job. Thank you for your time and thank you for your support of the Boxing Voice.
Well, considering you know how emotional he can be, and then being the last show and all. I think Max held. I mean, Max was fine because Max is he's gonna still be working on ESPN with a weekly show, and you know, and calling some of the fights. So Max is like, I don't know where y'all going, but I'm good. So that's why he wasn't crying. It's funny. I ran into Max about a week and a half ago or so in the city too. But yeah, I mean, that part was a little emotional, even for me. You know, growing up watching HBO. So you know, I kind of felt Roy's pain, Jim's pain, and but all great things, man. They do come to an end.
Do you have one moment
Even life
in
itself.
Do you have one moment in HBO boxing that just sticks out to you?
Um, to be honest with you, one of the I guess fights that probably me personally would would be only because my brother fought on a card when Trinidad fought Joppy. You know, I was in the garden that day. My brother fought that day. The energy was great. It was an HBO card. So me being a part of it, I mean, that was one of the most memorable moments for me being there. You know, as far as watching a fight, the the Man, there's so many historic fights, on HBO. Uh, as a kid, it will probably be Riddick Bowe versus Evander Holyfield. I was young. I was a historic heavyweight fight, and Riddick Bowe was man possessed that night. Nobody on earth could beat Riddick Bowe that night. So I just that was one of the most memorable fights to me on HBO.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was an incredible fight. Well, let's get to the biggest name in the sport today, Canelo Alvarez. I see you guys went down. I don't know where you
San
guys went,
Diego,
but San Diego.
California.
And you guys met Canelo, was in camp with him for like a day or two. How
Well,
was
well,
that?
we've met him before. We've sat down with him on interviews, and we actually have a relationship with Canelo because we've had a good relationship with Golden Boy over the years. So even before the Triple G fights, we Canelo fights in Vegas. We actually go to the victory dinner with him and his camp and Golden Boy. So we had somewhat of a relationship. He knew who he was, but it's gotten closer since the DAZN deal, obviously, because we spent more time with him, and we actually went to his home and shot a pretty cool bit that you guys should see. Most likely, you'll see it on Fight Night on the broadcast.
What's up with his wardrobe y'all gave him? Y'all gave him the
Well, the bit it was an Akin Barak New York makeover. So Canelo's never fought in New York City. He's never fought in a place this cold before, this winter. And who better than Akin Barak to give him some of that New York sauce? So we went to the high end stores and on Rodeo. There you go, Rodeo Drive. Saks, all of that fancy stuff. We spend racks on racks on racks and brought him some high end stuff that's fit for New York and for the cold weather. And he liked a lot of the stuff, so it's a cool little bit that you guys are gonna get to see soon on DAZN. So I'm looking forward for the fans to watch that.
man. Who knew Canelo
And he's
had
a
that?
great sport.
Who knew Canelo had that kind of personality, man?
Oh no, well, not to mention he did that whole bit in English with us. You know what I'm saying? So when you guys watch it, it was total English. Because me and Barack, I guess, you know, there's a certain aura when we're in a room that fighters tend to open up. You know what I mean, and let their guard down, just be themselves, and have just a conversation. And I guess we had that effect. Praise God that we were able to have some sort of niche there, and he really showed us love and opened up, did the whole thing in English. He actually was excited about the clothes. He kept a few of the pieces. They might even see him in some. So he was a great sport, and he's a fashionable dude too, man. Canelo has style for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we see you. We're holding the pad in like one video you put on your IG page.
Yeah,
What does that Canelo left hook feel like?
he got pop, man. Boy got power. The truth is, he hit it a few more times, but our producer Eliana that was recording it, she just caught the tail end of it. But when I was holding the round pad, I had it. Normally I've held that before. Normally I hold it on my phone, but I kind of held it on my shoulder the first couple of times. And that last time when he hit me, he almost knocked my shoulder out of my socket. So that wasn't an act. That was actually real when I put it down. Like damn. So he got power, man.
Damn.
Definitely got power.
Yeah, that's shit.
For sure.
Okay. Now he's fighting Rocky Fielding on the 15th. Now can Rocky Fielding live up to maybe the movie Rocky and cause a upset? Maybe like a Creed
No.
upset?
No. Sorry. No
There,
Cinderella story here.
but I mean Rocky's like six. Shit, it looks like he's about 6'10" compared to Canelo. I mean, he got the reach on him and stuff. So there's no way
Yeah.
in your mind that Rocky can keep Canelo
No,
off of him, being the bigger guy, having the reach.
no, because I don't want to discredit Rocky. You know what I mean? I don't know much about him, and I like to give any fighter a shot. You know what I mean? A fighting shot, because anything can happen in that, in that ring any given night. But you gotta be logical about these decisions. And you watch Rocky fight. It just seems like he technically might not have the ability to adjust to what Canelo brings to the table. Canelo not only has hand speed and power, he knows how to work the body. He knows how to roll with punches. His defense has gotten, so well. His arsenal is just too broad. And then when you watch Rocky fight, he's a guy that has some. He's a world champion. All credit due to him. He has some success, but you have to go with what you think makes sense. I just don't think Rocky has enough arsenal to deal with what Canelo's going to bring to the table that night. I have to be honest.
Does Canelo stay at 168 in campaign, or does he go back down to 150? I mean, 160 and fight the likes of Charlo or maybe even a Triple G a rematch?
Yeah, he'll go back down to 160. He'll go back down to 160 and make all of those fights that everybody wants to see because he truly is about that. Canelo is generally about making the big fights and fighting all of the big names and really creating a legacy for himself. Regardless of what people might have said in the past, I think he's shut all the doubters up already. There's no question about his heart, how good of a fighter he is. At this point, I mean, obviously, financially, he's just set right now with this new deal. So I think all he wants to do is accomplish now is, win more world titles, be in historic fights, and possibly be the greatest Mexican fighter of all time.
Who is the biggest threat to Canelo right now? Is it a Robert Brandt from ESPN that just signed up with Top Rank? Is it a Jamal Charlo that's on PBC, or is it a Triple G rematch?
I would have to say the biggest threat for him is Danny Jacobs because Daniel Jacobs is proven. Daniel Jacobs been in there. DJ's been in there with Triple G in a controversial loss. He's his last two fights. People don't know his opponents. They're actually really solid, good fighters, and he was able to come on top. Now, I'm not saying Charlo and even Demetrius Andrade, who's friend to the room and he's my guy. Still haven't been in the in that square circle with that level of opponent that Jacobs has been. So you would have to lean towards Jacobs probably being the biggest threat. For Canelo, if you look at the landscape. Logically, but I think all of those guys would be tough fights. Andrade is very skilled. Triple G is still a big threat. Though he's older and I don't see him beating Canelo even in a third fight. I think it still be somewhat competitive and still a big fight. It's probably still the biggest fight in the middleweight division, and I believe that fight. I believe there's some negotiation going on right now, so most likely. Triple G will be on Dazn. It'll be official. It's going to be some sort of announcement coming out soon. So look out for that.
So you don't believe Abel Sanchez when he says the Canelo trilogy has no effect on where Triple G signs?
No, I don't believe that at all.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's nonsense. Triple G is going to be on Dazn. Just you heard it from here.
Gotcha. Now, let's go back real quick to the Demetrius Andrade. He was recently arrested on having a gun without his permit, but turns out that he actually has a permit. He just didn't have it with him. Right. What other do you know about the laws in the Rhode Island area?
Not in that state, man. Laws in New York City, where I'm from, are a lot stricter for with gun laws. A lot tougher to even get a permit here, even without any felonies. So over here, he would have had some serious problems. But I mean, being the fact that he just didn't have it on him. I'm thankful and thank God that he's able to get out of that situation. A lot of times you don't know. I mean, I don't condone gun violence or anything like that. And a lot of times you don't know what people have gone through or what scares they might have had and why they feel like they need to protect themselves or whatnot. Don't know the neighborhood he's grew up in or the people around him. But I guess for some reason he felt like he needed some sort of protection. But I'm glad that he has, the legal documents in order to have that firearm, and hopefully he gets past it. He's a hell of a guy, good dude, solid dude, not a troublemaker. I was shocked when I first heard the initial story. So I just hope everything just gets past him and he clears that up.
Real quick, I want to go back to this Wilder Fury thing right quick. Frank Warren came out today and said that they're looking at the April 13th date for a possible fight. I mean, for a possible rematch. Is that smart going up against Anthony Joshua, who already has that date?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think that's just talk, blowing smoke. I doubt that they're gonna do that. I think it's just, to make headlines to get boxing people to talk about it. At the end of the day, they won't do that. I
Okay.
don't see it happening. I think there's too many other dates and opportunities. But to go against, a guy that has that type of following, and though it's not maybe not as huge as it can be yet in America as far as Joshua. Over there, that dude's a really big deal, and I think he's spending some time actually now. He's in Portland, Oregon, and he should be in town for the fight in New York. So I think Joshua's going to start probably doing some press here too and becoming a little more recognized in this country. So,
Okay.
I mean, I don't quote me on that, but I kind of see that happening. He's been around. He's been in America you know, for a few days now, more than a few days. So, I don't think they're gonna do a fight that same day.
Adrian Broner is coming up. He's supposed to be fighting Manny Pacquiao in January. Now he's saying he's doing this for the whole hood and got the hood on his side and doing it on God and them. Are we buying this? Because we hear it a lot from Adrian Broner. We hear it almost every fight. I'm focused. I'm back. I'm ready. Are we buying this
Like
or
the boy who cried wolf.
the
I
boy
mean,
cry wolf? There you go.
well, I mean, look, Adrian is still a live dog, right? So you can never count him out. He's a guy that can take a punch, can dish it out, kind of an underachiever though as far as talent, and not reaching to his full potential yet. But maybe this could be the fight that brings it out of him. We don't know. Obviously, they have Pacquiao as a favorite. He's coming off a big win. Adrian, hasn't had a big win in a while, but sometimes, those type of scenarios, like those type of, that energy in the air, kind of could motivate the hell out of a fighter when everybody counts you out. So I don't want to look past Adrian. Manny has some years on him. He's been in the ring. He's been in a lot of wars. Sometimes a fighter could get old one night, but it would have to be the best Adrian Broner ever. It has to be an Adrian Broner that is taking risk, um, willing to take a shot here and there, to take a risk to land shots. Because if Adrian lets his hands go, it's going to be a real fight because he has hand speed and power. The question is that Adrian going to show up? Is he going to be confident enough to take risk and let it all out on the line? Or is he going to play it safe and be defensive? Manny is too busy, throws too many punches, for him to win rounds that way. So it all depends. Everybody says it. It all depends on what Adrian shows up. But I think it's going to be an entertaining fight, to be honest. I
Does
think it's going to be
Floyd
an interesting
Mayweather
fight.
come back for that winner?
Possibly, man. Uh, Possibly. I think that Floyd wouldn't turn down a huge mega payday. And I mean, honestly, I think if Adrian Broner wins that fight, I think that storyline and how that fight will, you know, I think it'll do crazy numbers. You know what I mean? Like the protege and the sensei. I think they can really run with that. And if Pacquiao wins big, and being that Floyd been out the ring for a while, they can sell it like Pacquiao's been busy. This is the time he can beat Floyd. I think for the right number, man, the 9 digits, Floyd comes back for sure.
Damn, take 9 digits to get Floyd back?
Yeah, well, he won't do that, unless he makes less than over $100 million or more, not for less than 100 million.
All right, I got 3 more questions left for you.
Sure.
What's on tap for the Zone in 2019, and what can we expect from Akim and Barack on the Zone in 2019?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's gonna be a ton of fights, right? They're signing new talent. Um, I know Eddie's pushing for Javante Davis and Tevin Farmer. You know, he's going to try to make a case for that fight somewhere down the line. You're going to have two big, huge Canelo fights. Cinco de Mayo in Vegas is going to be a huge Canelo fight against a big name on the zone. You got you obviously have April with Joshua, and those two guys are going to fight again in 2019. So you got four mega fights, and in the mix in between those fights, they're going to be a lot of solid fights with new you know, we got all the middleweights, you know, on the network. So, you know, you might see a Andrade Jacobs fight. You know, I see a Saunders, you know, finally Saunders versus Andrade. They're gonna be huge fights. You know what I mean? Even if they're spread out, or maybe even on those cards, you know, those Canelo cards. As far as AK Barak, you know, like I said, this Wednesday, make sure you guys tune in and watch the Zone Wednesday evening. The first ever episode of the Sweet Scientist AK Barak show is going to be on the Zone, and also we're obviously a part of every fight week, so we're going to be broadcasting live from all of those fights. So look out for something special on this weekly show, man. It's gonna be something different that the boxing world has never seen. It's gonna be AK Barak style.
All right, now we're done with boxing. Got two questions for you that just give people a insight to like who you are. If you could live in any time period in history, when would it be, and why would you choose that time period?
I'm living it, man. I'm living in the time right now. You know,
You don't
there's so
get
many
tired of
reasons.
the social media, the phones, the people always want a picture with you, and
yeah, but you have to, you got to be able to take the good with the bad and take what comes with the territory. My kids are on a great place right now. You know, they understand technology. They do straight A students. I'm watching them grow. I love the access of the information. Sometimes it can be an overload of information, you know, on the internet, where if you let that, you know, get carried away, then yes, it can be an overload of information that's overwhelming. So you just got to know how to control it, know when to put the phone down, know when to really be involved in what's important, you know, which is family and spending time with people that you love. But also, there's so many more opportunities right now from the push of a button to be able to find anything out, be able to see things, see the world, and see so much right now. I appreciate all time. I mean, I never. I enjoyed growing up in the '80s, you know, as a child, and '90s era. It was great, you know. But God put me in this era for a reason, so I'm going to take advantage and not want to wish to be in another era. That's where God put me, and I'm going to live it to the fullest. So I'm living in the era I want to be in.
I want to touch on something real quick. How old is your oldest kid?
14.
I have a little girl. She is 7 years old. All right.
Mm-hmm.
She's starting like to turn, like, you know, get the little attitude with me and stuff. Like how
Right.
how as a dad, you can give me some dad advice. How do you deal with that, and how do you like monitor what they're viewing on their like iPads or like tablets and all that kind of
Well,
shit?
first advice I give you is just love and affection, man. You just got to give your daughter a lot of love and affection, right? Just let them know that you know that they're loved at home. As far as monitoring, you got to be in control, man. It's tough. It's not easy though. You know what I mean? I have my son is 10 years old who comes kind of gets caught up in this Fortnite and this you know, Minecraft thing as well. So you got to know when to take it away, where even if they whine and they cry and they pout, you just can't feel sorry. You gotta have limits, and eventually they'll get it. You know, when they know, oh, dad is serious about this. You take what they love away, you know, they'll straighten up quick.
All right, my last
Jeez.
question. When it's all said and done, and you're like 85 years old, you had a great career in boxing. You done did everything you wanted to do. What do you want your country?
From your mouth to God's ears, praise God. I hope I make it to
Oh man, you probably
35.
make it to 100.
But go ahead.
I just said 85 because I'm saying you probably be still walking around and stuff. What do you want
Thank you.
your contribution to boxing to be, and what do you want people to say about you when they bring up your name?
Oh man, it's not an easy question, but I would say that, you know, to sum it up, I would want I don't want to just say something generic to be like the voice of the people or speak for the people. I want to have accomplished something to make the sport better, whether it be a show that went on for 20, 30 years and people loved and people came to watch it, even if they weren't huge boxing fans, but they loved the way I talked about boxing, the way me and my co-host talked about the sport, and they came to chime in and sit and watch us for a few minutes. Um, I want to be able to make the sport better in a sense where more casual people that might not understand how great boxing really is, how incredible of a sport it really is. I want to tap into those people. That's one of my main goals, to be able to not to just cater so much to hardcore boxing fans who are going to watch the sport anyway and going to be around when, not going to need me to watch the sport. I want to create new boxing fans, and that's going to be, one of my main agendas. So down the line, I hope a few people say, man, I didn't really know much about boxing until I watched, AK and Barack show, and they kind of got me into the sport, man. Now I love it. That would
Absolutely,
probably be one of my
absolutely.
goals. And definitely want to shout my team out. You guys know Barack, Boxing Bully. My business partner Bless, Mark Collins, Boxing Means, Big Yo, our photographer. Everybody at the Zone. Shout out to Mark Clark, Ring. These are all people that kind of play a big part in everything that we do on a daily basis. And so I want to shout out them and everybody over there at the Zone. Jason Bowers and all the producers, George, Lydia, LaShonda, everybody that's making this show what it is. Jamie Holritz and Grant Best and Scott Woodgate. These are everybody. It takes a team to really create something, even if you only see two people in front of the camera. So I just want to shout them out, man. And again, peace and love to everybody. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for your time, and we're looking forward to watching you guys tomorrow. Wednesday. You guys do show debut, right?
Do that, yes. Sweet Scientist, AK and Barack. All right.
Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, a word. And shout my man Ness too, and everybody over there at the Boxing Voice in. And I appreciate you. Great questions, great interview. Looking forward to seeing you and chopping it up with you again. All right,
man. Thank you, sir.
All right.
What is up, TBV family? Yes, YouTube has been cutting funding to their channels as of late, and with net neutrality going through its process, the internet is changing. If you want to keep your favorite channel intact, coming up with tons of content, and plus get hours and hours of extra content, head over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice to become a member of the TBV family and help support the channel. Peace.